at everythingtolayla.com.
Password 1234.
Incorrect password.
Technology, am I right?
We need a new tech lead.
Sponsor your job on Indeed and get matched with quality candidates when you need them most. Visit Indeed.com/hire now.
Okay, so we just had the good news from Fox 13's Alejandro Guzman, and as the old movie, the good, the bad, and the ugly. The good, the fun that you can have in the snow. The bad, the crashes we've been seeing. The ugly, that may just be reserved for reactions from folks that are caught up in this mess over at Seattle-Tacoma International Airport. Remember, we told you earlier that the FAA makes the call on these ground stoppages. We've seen a little bit of flex with that since we joined you, but we are still seeing a slowdown of planes being allowed into the area, and we're also seeing issues with people getting out as well. And just to kind of highlight the ugly that I just mentioned, we got some back and forth coming in from folks that are actually trying to get out. Jen G writing to Alaska Air online saying, hey, Alaska Air, we've been on the tarmac in Seattle for almost 4 hours with no update. They don't have a gate for us. Our plane just driving around in circles. We missed our connection to Tokyo. Any guidance would be appreciated. So, I mean, you can only imagine how that one must feel. Alaska responding, we're so sorry for the long wait for a gate. We're diligently working to get an aircraft on the ground. We do realize there are extremely long lines, so it almost sounds like, if I'm reading that right, it's going to be more difficult once you get inside as well. Boy, I can only imagine how it's feeling for folks, especially if you're doing a connection. It's one thing if you're getting a connection within the U.S., and it's an international connection. She mentions she's trying to get to Tokyo, so yikes. We did have a chance to talk with Perry Cooper over at Seattle-Tacoma International Airport. I will stress, he reminded us that they are not the ones making the calls here. That would be the FAA when it comes to a ground stoppage. And a big part of that is the lack of visibility in the area. Now, I will also tell you that I was just updating here to see where we're at. According to the FAA website, we have a full ground stop due to snow or ice, and the average delay, brace yourself, 298 minutes. That is rough. I'm a journalist, I'm doing math. That's over 4 hours, folks. It was in the 62-minute range last time I had updated that. So, yeah, folks like Jen there, trying to make it to Tokyo and not too happy. Now, for the folks over at Seattle-Tacoma International Airport, you can see they've got the runway dry, or clear at least. You can actually see through. It's hard with the visibility, but they've got that pavement cleared off, so it's just a matter of visibility to clear up till they can get things moving. When I was talking to Perry earlier, I said, hey, you guys are doing good work keeping it open, but yeah, it's going to be a while till the FAA gives you the green light, unfortunately.
All about safety here at the airport. It's not always roadway-like, but it's also the air as well, too, and that air traffic control is managing that. So our crews here for the airport, we've kept the runways, taxiways, and the ramp areas clear, so we've been good with that throughout the morning. Sidebar on that is we actually had some new over-Austin snowplows that we've purchased in the last couple of years. So this is the first time they've actually pushed around some snow. But otherwise, the big challenge, though, is with the airlines. They manage de-icing their own aircraft. And the biggest thing that happens there is when you're de-icing aircraft, you're de-icing them at the gates. So before those flights who have just arrived are able to get to the gate, those aircraft at the gate have to get de-iced and then take off. So the challenge there is then some of those folks that have arrived may end up waiting before they're able to get to their gate because of that.
Well, and this does get so interesting, too, because, you know, it's obviously you've got the FAA with a role, that you've got you guys with a role, the airlines with a role. I imagine when you guys start seeing this in the forecast, you start thinking, okay, we're going to have angry customers. Are we going to tell them, like, hey, listen, A, it's Mother Nature. B, we're also kind of just following the rules that are handed down here.
Yeah, no, you're correct. And like I say, it's all about safety being number one. The biggest thing that becomes a challenge when you've got what we call low visibility situations, when you've got snow like this or potentially fog we see throughout the winter, is you end up, the air traffic controllers will separate the aircraft further apart from each other. So what that means then is they can only get fewer aircraft into the airport during an hour period. That's what they typically track. So it's like, if we would normally say get like 45 landings in an hour, that may drop down to like 20 or 25, that kind of area. So now you just think about, there may be 40 aircraft that were supposed to be here in the next hour. Well, they're backed up because that other 15 is still trying to get here. So when you hear the terminology ground stop for arrivals, what that is talking about is that aircraft that are already at their destination airport, say for example San Francisco or LA, they're about to take off to come here, they will stop them on the ground there before they take off, because they know if they take off right now, there's a backup of planes and they end up being circling and, you know, waste fuel, that kind of thing. So they'll rather hold them on the ground at their departing airport for a while before they then let them take off to come here, knowing that they'll get metered in later. Kind of like, you know, maybe a traffic stop you see as you on-ramp the freeway.
All right, so that was our conversation earlier. Right now you have a live look out there. And I just want you guys to see what I'm seeing. So I'm going to share my screen with you here just so you get an idea of how I'm tracking this. This is the website from the FAA. I'll scroll down here and notice there are a lot of airports that are dealing with a mess right now. But this right here, there's a ground stop, which, as Perry just described to you, means that they're kind of stopping some of these planes from coming in so that they're not all, you know, backed up one after another because of the low visibility that we're seeing out there. But look at this ground delay. Average delay 298 minutes due to snow or ice. By the way, I mentioned that journalists are bad at math. I had to double check my math on that because I said it was over 4 hours. Accurate, but it's almost an extra hour than that. So then again, why we started the conversation, this block, this little go-around as our weather coverage continues with the back and forth between somebody that is trying to get to Tokyo and the reaction saying that they know lines are long. I'm still trying to figure out, do they mean the lines are long once they get inside to try to figure out what happens next? Because if that's so, obviously there's going to be some more frustrations out there at the airport. San Francisco International Airport, reminding folks the FAA makes the call on these ground stops and ground delays, and the airlines actually have to make the moves on the de-icing process. They are there to keep upkeep on the port itself or the airport itself, and yeah. It does look like they've at least got the ice and the snow cleared off the runway, but right now, visibility is a mess. More news to come here on the Fox Local Live Desk. We come back, we're going to check in with Chief Meteorologist Brian McMillan, get an idea of where this thing is heading, because it looks like this thing is just stuck and sitting on top of us, and that is causing a concern. We'll be right back after this.
Experience the Seattle RV Show. All the makes, models, and floor plans. Get special rates, incentives, and show-only deals. Talk to RV experts and check out all the add-ons and upgrades. Now through Sunday. Tickets at SeattleRVShow.com. Sponsored by Progressive Insurance.
Today we are talking about Medicare Part C, commonly called Medicare Advantage. If you're losing benefits for any reason, have moved, or are new to Medicare, you can call now because you may be eligible for plans in your zip code with additional benefits or cost savings that you may not know about or that may not have previously been available to you. Some people may be wondering if they could qualify for a special enrollment period because of recent life changes. So don't wait. Call the number on your screen now. Call now with any questions about your Medicare coverage options. We will check to see if there is a Part C plan available in your area with additional benefits and potential cost savings. Call to speak with a licensed insurance agent and find out if you are eligible for an initial or special enrollment period. You don't get Medicare Part C benefits automatically, so call now for your free 2026 no obligation Medicare benefits review.
Just call 800-662-7017. 800-662-7017.
What's your car accident case worth? It's definitely worth more than the insurance company says. Call Bernard Law Group now and find out for free. 1-800-5-million. See what your case is worth.
Welcome back into the Fox Local Live Desk, everybody. Matthew Smith here inside the Fox 13 Seattle newsroom. Want to hand it off Chief meteorologist Brian McMillan. Brian, I don't know if you heard that last segment. We are now talking about almost 5-hour delays over at Seattle-Tacoma International Airport. It is getting nasty out there. I can't imagine being on one of those planes.
I just saw a comedian that was supposed to play here in Seattle was saying that they had to cancel their shows. They were flying in from Spokane. And their flight was canceled. So this is impactful here for folks that are trying to go out and have a good time tonight, or get out of here, or get into Seattle because of this snow and the ice that we're seeing down at SeaTac. And I want to show you what it looks like down there at SeaTac. I know we've been showing this pretty much all day long, but it's because it's been so impressive for those huge, enormous flakes still falling. And we've been talking to the folks out there at the airport, and they said, they got to de-ice these planes. Oftentimes, people won't be able to land until they can get some of the planes out of the gates and have them take off. So it's just been kind of a mess. And now we're talking hours and hours of delays. So make sure to check your flights. If you have a flight tonight out of Seattle here on this Friday night, I would definitely check to make sure it's even happening still, because the delays are so long. And the frustrating thing here today is that we have not seen these temperatures get above 35 degrees. They were at 34 for a little while, then they dropped back down. So now we're at 33. We're still seeing the snow falling. This is huge, wet flakes. If you notice down at the bottom of your screen, the traffic moving along just fine. And really, as we've been peeking at the roads all morning long, especially the main thoroughfares, they've actually been okay. Now, ignore the little bugs here. I'm just going to show you like a picture of, this is at I-90, okay? And this is, wish I could get rid of, here, let me go back. This is at 3rd Avenue here in I-90, okay? So there are plenty of spots around town that look like that. And that is not impressive, is it? But then you get back to some of our other cameras, and I'll show you, let's see here. I'll show you down towards Olympia. Okay, that's not impressive either. The grass, just showing, some little wet spots, but there's no major snow happening down that direction. And, we've been peeking at other cameras like this one. This is from Cary Park up there at Queen Anne. We've been looking at this one. This is down in Tacoma. So really, as we look around town, we're still seeing snow, folks. We're still seeing it, especially down in SeaTac, where those temperatures are cool. All right, another thing to know, we are seeing this band of moisture slowly but surely dipping its way a little farther south. So Skagit and Whatcom counties, you're completely dry. You're fine right now. But this band of moisture that's been set up over the central and south sound, and especially the southwest interior, has been hanging out with us all day long. So Quality Pass, Stevens Pass, White Pass, all getting hammered with snow. Up in Everett and Lake Stevens, it appears that has switched over to rain. We're at 36 degrees there now, but Tacoma and Seattle, still close to freezing. I don't like that we're that close to freezing, because that could mean a messy commute for us in some spots. I do think if you're, traveling around Lake Washington, you're probably going to be just fine. Might be a little bit of slush in some spots, but overall looking okay. It's when we get to some of the outlying areas, and especially out in the higher elevations. So during your commute tonight, I am expecting heavy snow above 4,000 feet. Excuse me, above 400 feet, not 4,000 feet. That's a big difference, right? 400 feet and above, and that does include areas like North Bend. You are going to be seeing some snow that will likely be impactful to your drive. If you are heading out of the town tonight, there may be some icy spots, especially if our temperatures are just hovering right around freezing, and we drop below that as we get into early tomorrow morning. I've had a lot of people ask me about, March snow and when the latest we've seen snow is. We've seen snow as late as early April, so that can certainly happen. It hasn't happened very often. It's only happened 4 times in recorded history, which goes back to 1945, so April snow is pretty rare. Mid-March snow is also pretty rare. In fact, this is one of the snowiest March days that we've ever had on record. I just asked the National Weather Service here for an updated total. We're going to have those coming up at 5 p.m. So you'll have to be watching our newscast for that, coming up at 5 o'clock. But let's take a look here at the past 5 Marches. We barely had anything. This is our snowiest March that we've had in Seattle since at least 2009. And I think when the day is done, this will be our snowiest that we've had since 1989. Winter weather advisory will remain in effect through tomorrow morning. Additional 1 to 2 inches of snow in some of these locations, including Enumclaw, Bonnie Lake, Eatonville, Maple Valley, the Renton Highlands out towards North Bend, Carnation, and Falls City. Duval's also on that list. And then we have a winter storm warning until tomorrow morning. Pass travel will be difficult. We could see another 6 to 10 inches of fresh powder up there. This is what it looks like here on this map. In fact, White Pass could see even more than that. So we're looking at a significant amount of snow still to come before things finally taper off tomorrow morning. Now, an area that I'm concerned about will be the south end, the southwest interior. All those rivers that you see there, Chehalis, Newaukum, the Skookumchuck, the Cowlitz, the Grays, and the Stehekin River, which is actually in central at time. So it depends on the river, it depends on the times that they're going to hit that, but all of them hitting potentially minor flood stage. Your highs, this one should be saying highs tomorrow. The highs tomorrow into the mid 40s. It will be turning sunny tomorrow. So tomorrow afternoon, warmer, sunnier, a break from all this mess, and then we'll be looking at a drier afternoon on Sunday too. As we get into Monday, we turn wet. I think Monday and Wednesday look like our wettest days coming up over the next week. By the way, this 7-day hot off the presses, upper 50s as we get into late next week. I think Thursday and Friday are going to be nice and warm as we start to head our way into spring. If you're looking for a completely dry day, I think Friday, first day of spring, looks like our first dry day in a while. But as far as the evening commute goes tonight, just take it slow. And if you live up there in those higher elevations, if you're watching us at work right now and then you're going to be heading home, be careful as you start getting up in those hills because it might get a little bit rough.
All right, so one bone to pick with you at this point, Brian. You want to hear it?
Sure, bring it on.
Hot off the presses. It's snow, man. It's cold.
I should say cold off the presses, but I just finished the 7-day forecast for our evening shows, so that's what I was talking about there. But, yeah. Hey, by the way, Matt, I don't know about you, but if you're heading out for St. Patrick's Day celebrations on Tuesday, going to be doing a little bit of that. It'll be a little showery for that. So, make sure to dress warmly under your kilt.
I feel like you were talking directly to the viewers because you know enough about me, man. I'm a parent. I'm gonna be locked inside. I'm not doing anything. I will be at home with my kid if I'm not right here talking on TV. That's my life right now.
That's right. Same here.
Let me ask you one last thing.
Sure.
When it comes to how this has just kind of sat over us, we had hoped that a lot of the snow would get out of here. You were mentioning that SeaTac thing, which, by the way, oh my gosh, 5 hours for some of these people in the delays. How close were we to getting out of this? Is there any metric that we could look at and say, if it was just this much different, this would have changed earlier?
Oh, honestly, another 2 degrees warmer and we would have probably been fine here.
Wow.
2 or 3 degrees warmer. So yeah, it just shows you, and I would say 2 or 3 degrees colder than this, and we would have been in big trouble because we would have been seeing accumulation on the roads. So when we're forecasting snow in the weather department here, it's, we try to get as precise as possible here with our temperature forecasting because it does make all the difference in the world when you're talking maybe 3 degrees warmer than we are right now. It's just cold rain, but 3 degrees colder than we are right now. And now we're talking, an inch or 2 or 3 on the roadways. And then now we're talking, gridlock here. So thankfully we're kind of right in the middle. Most of the roadways are fine. We're seeing problems at the airport and problems up a little higher in elevation and in some of the outlying areas. But the city itself is still able to move, and we're still able to get around on our freeways.
Boy, what a difference just a few degrees makes. You're talking a 5-degree swing of either we're out of this or it could have been a disaster. I guess glass half full. Brian, we landed in the middle, so at least it wasn't that bad.
That's right. And, get home safely, everybody, if you're planning on going out tonight or if you have early plans tomorrow. It probably will be a little bit icy in some spots tomorrow morning. And one thing I want to mention too, we have this thing called the Puget Sound Convergence Zone, and that sets up usually around South Snohomish County, North King County, somewhere in there. That looks like that's going to pop up tomorrow. So there could be an area in, let's say, Everett, where you are there, Matt, or up in the Linwood area, somewhere in there, where this convergence zone sets up tomorrow morning. And in that spot, we could see a rain and snow mix, maybe even a little bit of snow accumulation, or if the temperatures are warm enough, maybe just rain. But I think we will see some flakage tomorrow up in the Everett area, Linwood area, Bothell, Woodinville, those kind of areas up there on the north end.
All right, good news to have, especially for me and my wife. Brian, we appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks.
All right, and that was Chief Meteorologist Brian McMillan. He's going to be joining you guys with Seattle News tonight, so stay tuned. I just remind folks, this is why, it's serious. We're spending extra time, extra folks, extra hours, overtime, so we can help you guide your way through this. It has been a very, very busy time out there. All right, do want to draw some attention to this. This is pretty cool. We got some new video coming in from one of our directors. Allie Driver sent this in. Check it out. This is coming in from around 3:20, 3:25. She writes, still snowing in the Hilltop neighborhood in Tacoma. And is it ever? We've been showing you those live images coming in out there at Seattle-Tacoma International Airport, but this is just a completely different look. We've got folks spread out in and around our viewing area, and on days like this, we actually start relying on our folks that are behind the scenes as well, because there's just so much. Our crews can't cover every single area, so Allie, we do appreciate you getting this out to us, but man, look at that neighborhood side street. Good news is it doesn't look like anybody's necessarily stuck on that road, but I don't know, that slush, that mess, not something I would necessarily love to see. That's one of the views she gave us. I want to show you one more here. Yeah, this is starting to be pretty gross out there. Here's the thing, folks. I'm at work. I'm going to be driving in this to get home. If I wasn't at work, you could not pay me enough money to be going out in this. My kid will probably try to drag me outside and jump on a trampoline. He has a weird thing about loving to jump in snow, rain. If it's bad out, that's when he wants to get outside. But I will try my hardest to serve up some hot cocoa and just look out a window, because I think there's better options today. We want to bring in our producer, Alan Pavlik, joining us once again. Alan, one of the crazier stories I've seen so far, people actually parking on a road.
What are we doing? What are we doing? I mean, I understand, you get stuck out there, but, you just leave the car in the middle of the road. It's a pass. There's only one way, there's only one way in, one way out. It's such a head scratcher. Why are you leaving your car? Wouldn't your car be the warmest spot?
That's what I'm saying.
There's so many things that just don't really add up here, and WashDOT is being as petty as they should be. I don't say that.
Okay, so here's the image that they sent out. Do you have some background on this one? Because this is crazy.
This one is absolutely